What up, people of the world? Welcome back to Knell of St. Godhrkar. Let's dive straight in, back to chapter 6, back to day 6 even. I think we're about to get murdered hard again, guys. I think it's gonna happen. I'm just gonna turn this down a bit, because it's quite loud. We're on Raven's story, which seems to be the final piece of the puzzle on day 6, which is where we got murdered last time. So I think we're about to get murdered hard because we've got no more karma points to do any decisions. So he's on his own. He has to decide for himself which route he's going to take. It might not happen. Neo? Rather, what took you so long? Raven had come from their shared room. Excuse me, sorry. Raven had come from their shared room and had barely picked up the receiver when the landlord told him it was Neo's call. When he answers the phone, a stream of complaints and orders assaulted him from the other end. Thank East, you haven't left the house yet, huh? Go to my room and in the left closet, grab the 4th suit to the right, the one with the purple polka dot tie tucked around the collar. I just found out the suit I have doesn't fit. Hurry up, the party's about to start, and don't be late. I need to give a speech. Do I need to change? It's fine. You don't have to do anything. You can just get some grub after the dance. He didn't ask you about food. He asked if you had to get changed, you wally.
A line.
Well, I'll be there as soon as I can. Thank you, my friend. I owe you one. Neo hangs up. Raven heaves a sigh, fumbling 2 coins from his pocket and plunging them into a metal box by the phone while looking at himself in the landlord's mirror. The dark-haired... Yeah, you're about to get murdered hard, mate. Don't look at the mirror too long. It doesn't matter anymore. The dark-haired young man takes off his usual woolly waistcoat. The slim frame of his shoulders and chest is outlined by the suit. He smooths the fold and firmly tugs the knot of his tie to complete the look, but wearing such a fancy outfit leaves him with a funny feeling. The last time he wore a suit was at the previous New Year's party. The suit he's wearing was a gift from when he entered the university. Unsurprisingly, considering the extended amount of time he's had the suit, the material has started to stretch out, making it loose-fitting in some areas, while the shoulders and waist areas are still fairly tight. Putting on his long coat, Raven rushes up the stairs. He has to fetch Neo's beautiful suit as directed. Neo's wardrobe is much larger than his, and is crammed from top to bottom with all kinds of clothes. Looking for something in it would make anyone feel as if they're caught up in a tornado. The silk clothes are rubbing against each other's knickknacks, against other knickknacks, the kind you can usually get from the stalls in the streets. The clothes often release a pungent smell, and some aren't even washed, adding a hint of sour to the closet's odour. That is just gross. Going through someone else's dirty closet. Blah! This turbid odour is even more powerful in a confined space. Raven is so put off that he pulls the suit out by the hem, and the second he finds it and slams the closet door shut. Yeah, no wonder. Paper bags for clothes are easy to find. They're all over the room. After Raven grabs one and shoves the garment into it, he takes a quick glance at the clock. 9:17 already. That's not good. There's no time for himself now. If he insists on taking the chance and preps himself up, Neo's clothes will definitely be late. How about trying the gut way? Yeah, I didn't take the gut way last time. I took the normal streets and I still got murdered. Raven knows little about the gut way. He lived in Old Town for nearly a week to investigate a disease of the intestophan immigrants. There he witnessed children die of both disease and street fights. It was as dangerous as a jungle back in those days. However, after the war, everything changed for the better. But it is already night time. You haven't been around there after dark, and almost all their crimes happen at night. Don't take the main street! No! He's going to take the main street again and I can't change his mind because I've got no karma points. Both voices stir in his mind simultaneously, swinging his thoughts around like a turntable. The corner of his lips twitch nervously. Determined to take a detour through the main street, oh god, Raven wraps his scarf tightly around his neck and pushes open the apartment gate. The weather is rather unpleasant. The clouds that had gathered since the afternoon stir in the sky like a pot of caramelized sugar. Raven runs as fast as he can. A string of crackles sound each time the soles of his shoes press against the icy gravel, again and again, each time faster than the last. Raven scans the area. He takes notice of the numerous looking billboards and glass windows as he shivers in the cold silence. Did we make it? The road is empty. Raven rarely spots any passers-by. The street lights are the only things decorating the road, reflecting the yellow lights and making their wires look like threads of gold. Raven borrows the dim light to check the time on his watch. At this rate, he'll definitely be late. This evening's party is crucial for Neo, who is still waiting for his flamboyant garment, and thus to be announced as the lead singer. A figure bumps into him, disrupting his train of thought. Before Raven realizes what has happened, a rough arm picks him up by his collar and pulls him into the side alley. Oh god. Don't move. Oh, we have an option. We can't do anything about it because we've got no karma points, but we've got a choice. We can do stuff now. That's interesting. Before we just got murdered hard and we didn't have a choice about what we could do. Anyway, a young man's voice comes from behind him. Raven clenches his fist so tightly that his nails dig into his skin, drawing blood. But fear glues him to the ground. Raven is aware of the droplets of sweat trickling down his neck and soaking the cloth on his back. Raven feels an arm around his neck and the mangled hand tightens. He kicks his legs, hysterically pressing his chin against the murderer's hand in an attempt to make him let him go. Murderer's hand! How does he know he's a murderer? He just assumes that. I mean, he does have a chokehold on him, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's a murderer. No, let go of me! Raven shivers as a strong sense of dread overtakes him. His head is filled with static-like sounds like they were coming from a poorly received radio frequency. Soon his brain hemorrhaged, causing Raven to become delirious. The man with the silver hair waits patiently, eventually releasing the boy. Raven slips and falls. His nose points to the tip of the murderer's shoes and his clothes are drenched in sewage. The man lifts Raven up, unconcerned with the filth. He leaps to the roof of the house beside him, as if Raven weighed no more than a feather. What? This guy's some kind of weird mutant jumpy guy. He can jump from the alley floor, from the ground in the alley, up to the roof. Are you kidding me? He takes Raven and quickly disappears with him between the countless dilapidated buildings in the slums. Oh, so Raven's been abducted. He hasn't even been murdered. I think he still got murdered pretty hard. Oh, we've made it to the 7th. That's interesting. I didn't think they'd translated the 7th into English. Reflected upon her sight, the orange-brown sand is all Charlotte's sees. She hears a voice, a melody, so familiar yet so distant. As the timbers of piano and strings mix, she realizes it's the one that Lagarde and Rorty taught her to sing. She blinks, trying to find her way. The shades of night limits her vision. They spelled limits wrong. Limites her vision. No matter how many times she looks up, there will not be a hint of moonlight as guidance. The only thing she can feel is the freezing temperatures of the terrain swallowing her ankles in, making their way up to her knees. She can't stay for another second. The fear of being swallowed by the sand grabs her heart. Charlotte lifts up the hem of her dress and grew compelled to proceed in the unchanging landscape. Her lungs take in the dry air, which she exhales with all the moisture she holds within. She covers her nose to attempt to preserve body liquids. An anonymous force drags her further, almost anxious to show her the unknown. The sand-blown wind hastens and coarsens up her rosy cheeks. She narrows her eyes when tears slide uncontrollably down, not knowing whether if it's caused by the gravel or the emotions stirred up within. By the time she's able to open her eyes again, the storm has died down with an eerie tranquility taking place. Night has turned to day. The morning star shines through the horizon in the same way as to the many same dreams she's dreamt before. Then, suddenly, a shadow drifts above, hushing the sun and casting an uncanny silence. Chevlet runs to see the appearance of a mighty figure, only feet away from where she stands. Although she can't make out its expression, the ambiguity itself is enough to make her tremble with fear. Hang on, we just got murdered hard. Why did we not get any karma points for that? What the fuck? Is that a god of some kind? Under the extreme intimidation, Chevlet opens her mouth as if to let out a small shriek, but no sound came out. She puts a hand over her throat with a puzzled expression while backtracking. Unable to protect herself with her voice, she is overwhelmed by her frailty. Okay. Don't know what that was. An exception occurred. Something went funny in the game. Your oblation has been perceived. When the moon is low and the reed is drawn, it will be the time of harvest. Chevlet opens her eyes. She tries to slow down her breath with her bare shoulders shivering. Chevlet breaks into a cold sweat, which slides down along her perfect shoulder blades. Maverick's coughing finally brings her back to reality. There they are, lying in comfort on the bed of their little house. The sun is not yet bright outside, and the morning star glows softly just like it did in her dream. The correlation makes her shudder. When he hears the noise, Maverick turns his head, his face a little pale. Sorry, did I wake you? No, I'm okay. It's about some disturbing nonsense anyways. She smiles and sits up. Despite her words, her face is still as pale as a piece of paper. Maverick kisses her on the cheek and holds her in his arms. He tries to warm her icy fingers with his big rough hands. You're alright, I'm here. Chevlet soaks herself in the man she loves, in the very bedsheets they lie in. The familiar scent of olives always calms her down. Strangely enough, Maverick never realizes this himself. It must be one of a kind. When Maverick keeps kissing her on the neck, Chevlet couldn't help giggling as she struggles to get to the pockets watched by her bed. Come on, darling, I have to leave as much as I'd love to stay. Stay a little longer for me. Maverick's muffled voice rings in the tight space between them. He breathes on Chevlet's neck, leaving her with a tickling sensation. She chuckles while tapping his restless hands to sit up again. Her straight, supple hair slips over her shoulders, vaguely outlining her gorgeous body from her chest to her waist. If I get back too late, they might know that she's still making out with Maverick. Making out, yeah. Looking into the sailor's soulful eyes, she quietly swallows the last part of the sentence. She rubs the man's dark arms as if persuading a child. Anyways, I have to go. Mr. Whiteson said he would stay overnight at the banquet, but who knows when he would get home. Maverick looks like he has something else to say, but whatever he had on his mind, he decided not to share. Is that her benefactor, Maverick thinks? He couldn't resist clenching his fist. The upper classes feast on the blood of the poor and think of them as mere livestock. To them, women are just another way of entertainment. Ironically, that's the kind of scum that made Chevlet obsessed. Why can't it be me? Maverick's surge of love suddenly coalesces into a small brooding haze over his mind. The shadow rummages through the memories they have experienced together, and all the love, words, and intimacies are burning up like flaming pictures. I could give you what you wanted. I can protect you too. I love you more than he does. Whoa, he's gone a bit crazy, gone a bit jealous. The green-eyed monster's rearing its ugly head. However, Chevrolet has no idea what he is thinking about. She quickly stands up and gathers her clothes from the floor. She turns away to hide her face, as she doesn't want to look at those lovely melancholic eyes anymore. She wonders which side of her he detests more, the side where she throws away the person of her dreams, or the side where she throws away the career of her dreams. The answer is clear. Silence lies in between. Only the faint halting coughs come from behind her.
Irklo.
Are you okay? Don't worry about me. Every suppressed cough strikes on her soft heart, as if denouncing her decision. Chevrolet wants to reassure Maverick that she'll be alright, that she'll be right there with him just like he always does, but she knows it will be the exact words she can't say, at least not right now.
Star.
I have to go tonight. She keeps the fact about the one-way train ticket to herself.
Kurasilian.
Mr. Whiteson has given me a chance to compete for participation in the Grand Talazak Theatre. Opportunities like this won't come again. Mr. Whiteson has worked hard for me. Now it's my turn to return the favour.
Eh?
That fast? Maverick gets up from the bed. As he gets dressed, he stares at her with guilt and fascination.
Tisha, Lane.
When is your train?
Lane.
7:30 p.m. Will you be there?
Schlichen.
I'll be there. Don't overwork yourself, though. If things don't work out, you've got me. He leans forward, trying to hold off on Chevrolet's hand, who is like a phantom he can never grasp onto. He has been captured by his spoomum. He wants to confine her to the riverbank and spend an ordinary life with her, but there's an ocean in her veins, making her sail even further away.
Apaluistier.
There is no if, Maverick. I will make it this time. I have to. Don't curse me like that. Chevrolet almost gnashes for a bit. She stares down at the pearl necklace, which has not yet been worn, as if each pearl is a denial on her fate. Exquisite jewellery, long skirts woven with silvery and precious gems. How much longer? When can she no longer be seen as an attachment for men, finally standing on the stage singing only for herself? She almost wants to tell him with a sneer that his spoomum is leaving him. She's going after the sea, for she has had enough of this pond. Right. She'll no longer need to be so well cared for as she has been, as delicate as the porcelain displayed in a case, only for this man to fancy. It is the benefactor, right?
Law?
What? When Maverick mentions Lagarde, she feels frozen. She tilts her head, plucking the hair to the back of her head. What does that mean? Whatever. But her lover is so familiar with her every move. The days they spent together, the nights of their skin-to-skin interaction, is too familiar to Maverick. He is right. Isn't it wonderful to work with someone who lives in a mansion and splurges on the dirty money you get from selling your soul? This English is so messed up sometimes. Mr. Whiteson is an industrialist. He invests his legal money. I don't see any problem. Why are you defending him, Chevrolet? Didn't we laugh at the upstart? You're used to seeing me fail. I'm used to seeing myself fail. I can't live to be a burden my entire life. Once the words came out of her mouth, Chevrolet wanted to bite off her tongue. It's too much. She didn't mean to hurt her lover. Unable to bear the guilt, Chevrolet storms out of his room. She knows if she stays any longer, only hateful words will break out, words she'll regret the instant it's born. Chevrolet can't shake the feeling that Maverick enjoys her failures one by one, because at the end of the day it will make her return to his side. And that's a horrible thing to think about someone's lover. That's a really negative way to look at it. Across from the familiar streets, shops start to open one by one. The morning air is still fresh, signifying the start of a new day. Her heels catch the first dews of the day as she rushes back and gets on a tram, hopefully before anyone notices her absence. Whiteson's house is a long way from the docks, and the nearest station takes about 10 minutes to get there. That's not a long way, dearie. That's really not very long at all. Unfortunately, there appears to be a turn of events. As she approaches the entrance of Whiteson's house, Chevlet sees two familiar silhouettes out by the front door, knocking and ringing the doorbell. Eh? It's not even 7 o'clock yet. What do they want? It's way too early in the morning for anyone to pay a visit. Her confusion quickly recedes after hearing the knocking again. This time it's more agitated than the last. Subconsciously, Chevette hides herself in the building's shadows. The countryside in the early morning is quite peaceful. After Whiteson and Robert went out for the banquet, only Rorty and her maid remain in the house. It is one of the important reasons for her audacious sneak out. Yeah. Again, more choices that we can't make an impact on. We just have to accept what the character chooses, which is apparently to stick around. She doesn't care much for what the Warncocks want. God knows what they might be thinking. It would be inconvenient for them to notice her absence, but that said, the only way back unnoticed is for her to climb through the backyard. The backyard fence isn't high per se, but Chevlet isn't athletic by any means. It should be possible for her to flip through, but definitely not with ease, especially with her long dress. Forget it. Chevette thinks to herself that she continues to hide in the shadows. There's no guarantee she might hurt herself in the process anyway. Tomorrow is the day they'll set foot in the opera house for the competition, and she can't risk getting injured at this point. Fortunately, since she's not too far from the door and with her excellent hearing, the brothers' conversation reaches her easily. Goulet, it looks like Mr. Whiteson is not here.
Tav!
Please put on that hard face again. I'm really sorry. It was too dark. I didn't mean to get our target wrong. What should we do? Ah, I see. So these guys, it was Raven. It was these guys who grabbed Raven last night, I think.
Glue.
What can we do? Let's go. Mr. Whiteson is not here anyway. Gah, you're giving me a headache. How could you make such a mistake? What were you thinking? Don't. I don't think it's supposed to be a full stop there. I don't know. Don't. I know exactly what you're trying to say. Similar size dark hair and a party dress. So easy to confuse with our target. But shouldn't you at least check if the roommate's going to the same party before taking action? Gal lowers his head with a look of guilty. When his brother sighs and without saying a word turns to their car, the door is suddenly opened. Rorty stands behind with her bare foot on the carpet, looking like she's not fully awake. The two look surprised to see her there. Man, this English is so broken. Sorry to wake you up, Miss Whiteson.
Yeah.
Rorty tilts her head as if to ask what's going on. The two hesitate before answering her question. Gowl opens his mouth as if to answer, but Guerra stops him from saying anything unnecessary. Is your father present? We'd like to speak to him. Rorty shakes her head this time. She takes a gesture like please go ahead and points at herself. Guerra furrows his eyebrows in silence. After a while the man compromises as intended. Alright then, the truth is your father asked us to to bring a friend here, but we have taken the wrong person. It's not a big deal. I just wanted to confirm with Mr. Whiteson's thoughts on the matter first. Now that he's not here, we'll just take the care of him ourselves. Rorty nods his head. His head? Rorty nods her head, as if she understands. Guillermo sees this as an agreement, or at least an excuse to let them do it. I see. We need to make the preparations then. Again, I apologize for our early visit. The two recedes in a hurry after Rorty closes the door. Chevlet has no idea what they were thinking about, yet she still shudders out of instinct. In their minds, people's lives are just commodities. They don't care if innocent people die for a simple mistake. Their mistake. They only care about their business reputation. Staring them off, Chevlet makes sure the Warnock brothers are far enough for her to approach the house. She yields swiftly to the house and shuts the door firmly. She goes to the mirror and combs her long, hasty hair, then puts on her usual lipstick. She has to put on a facade before the mansion's owner returns. After that, Chevlet takes off the pearl necklace from her neck and puts it back in her purse. She's too afraid to wear it in front of Lagarde. Her affections, her greed, all that are unnecessary to Lagarde must be discarded. The morning star outside the window gradually hides in the mist. Okay, so you've got another police chapter. We've got 28 minutes for the hour. I reckon we can complete this in about 28 minutes. So, yeah, we're going to go for it. Urchin arrived at the police station and exchanged findings with his partner Widden, who arrived early at the office on rare occasions. Just as they were about to follow their clues, an emergency happened, disrupting their plan. Urchin arrives at the police station before the start of the official working hour as usual. He is used to this, to leave himself plenty of time to sort out his day. Early in the morning there are only a handful of policemen. The chief tends to turn a blind eye since not everyone is working harder than they're supposed to after all. Good day. However, few of his colleagues even bother to greet him back. They're so absorbed in their work, reading through the files, making their way either to the interrogation room or to the custody suite. At first glance, anybody would think it's a given that Urchin's greeting didn't even seem to reach them. He has grown used to the fact that they immediately try their best to appear busy once he greets them, and recent gang conflagration doesn't seem to be the cause for their deliberate indifference. He is just about to sit down and immediately feels a hand on his back. Widden is the only one in the department who would actually come looking for him. Urchin is just surprised that his partner could come so early. Considering his usual sluggishness, Urchin would usually have to wait another 2 hours for him. Early as usual, huh? Just getting used to it. Plus, we still have an unfinished business with the current case. How about you? What made you come this early? Just when Urchin finished talking, Widden yawns loudly, tears welling up from his eyes. Clearly, he's beginning to regret his decision to get up so early. The results of the 2-day blade test come out. I was told to pick it up early this morning. Said they found some weapon kinds that fit the profile. Besides, I can't just stay in bed while my partner, the workaholic, is working his ass off right now, can I?
Align.
In that case, I'll keep a lookout and make sure you'll be up as early as today for the days to come.
Oi.
Give me a break. With a grin, Widden places his files on Urchin's desk and accidentally a few pictures slipped out, which the blonde police puts back in order almost immediately. Half of the photos are of the victims and the rest are the test shots of the cuts incised on the snow white pork as a comparison. Our little doctor is right. The priest's knife can't possibly cut in this shape. Look at this and this. They're the closest ones to the original. What kind of knife is this? That's the point. It's not just an ordinary knife. It's a bloodletting bayonet. Definitely not something very common round here. But guess who likes to use this type of knife? Sudan, Enfus, or Pheromon? Don't buy it. Who's what? Oh, this must be names. Don't buy it. We don't have that much time to deal with each of one of them. No, their countries, I see. Ismayrego. Every butcher from there has one in their hands. They like to use it for their quick kills before skinning and bleeding their prey.
Twilight.
And there is only one place in Illy City where we can find this kind of knife. Come on, the sooner we go, the faster we can get close to the perpetrator.
Mascla?
Wait, what? Where?
Sean.
Of course, it's...
Hey, Widden.
Hey, Widden. Come on, Widden. What are you waiting for? Get your stuff already. Time to go.
How?
Huh? Their conversation is interrupted. Widden looks over with a blank look, while his colleague Barry is standing by the door, buttoning the buckle of his uniform as he stares at them.
Moyer Fesvero.
There's a strike at the train station. Hansel just called in from the scene. Chief Passmore told everyone to go there immediately.
Godhrkar.
How terrible is it? Barry mutters as he fixes his holster.
Slen.
How terrible is it, Barry? What's going on? What else did Hansel say? What else could it be? The Maximalists making a big fuss and all the trains had to be stopped. That Godhrkar Marquis is also out there. Now his fellows keep complaining about being lags behind their schedule, damn it.
Mascla?
Huh? I could have sworn they had done it deliberately.
More steer.
Hansel and others are keeping things in order. That leaves us to find the leader. Of course, not everybody has to go. For those who have urgent cases to deal with, do mind your own case. There's no need to come with us. I think he's just saying, don't come with us to this guy. Barry snorts, then he puts his police cap on and slams the door. Urchin and Widden look at each other in dismay.
Love stealth me?
What now, Urchin? I'd say I feel the same way as Bowie. Is the strike more important than life-threatening cases? Widden rolls his eyes. Whenever Urchin says something along that line with a straight face, Widden never knows whether his partner is actually thinking so, or perhaps it is something that he'd just say in a spur of the moment like a child. He raises his voice as gently and patiently as if explaining to a pupil.
Slen.
This is not that simple. Everything in Illy City will be put off track if the transportation system is being jeopardized for a week, says Widden, who is slipping his badge and pistol into their respective compartments. This is a serious emergency. If you don't go, they might find an excuse to report on you to Chief Passmore.
Immerstar.
But if you want to keep digging into it, go ahead. I can cover the fact that you're chasing the Maximalists with me.
Eh?
Another decision that we've got no karma for. So he's going to deal with the strike then, okay. The next moment, Widden's indifferent behaviour and expression almost makes Urchin laugh. Widden is right though, but now a new clue has finally emerged. Should it come out a little later, the case will be marked as nothing but a momentary case, thus leading to one of the many unsolved matters in the history.
Align.
Come on, let's go to the train station. Seeing Urchin's obstinance towards his own principles somehow made Widden happy, he throws the gun holster and belt over with great glee, and with a loud voice he goes out the door first. He has to start the car before Urchin is done getting ready. The train station, where things are usually operated in an orderly manner, has now become a place that is best described more like a noisy market. The strikers in the front row are holding cards with protests and condition. The rest of them stand in orderly lines, shouting and snarling, trying to provoke the police in front of them, a seemingly well-organised action. Meanwhile, Urchin and Widden are busy knocking on doors and checking the identity of every single person in the premise, whereas the senior police officers are responsible in checking the perimeter of the railway station, bracing themselves to capture the leader of the resistance once they encounter him or her. To search more efficiently, all of the officers are asked to split up. Widden is checking the people at the south side of the station while Urchin is working in the north area adjacent to the railway line. Police reinforcements can be seen coming down from the upper floors to intervene, triggering some of the workers to act up. One of them picks up a stone from the ground and throws it over. The police quickly pulls their batons and revolvers out. Tension has risen. The atmosphere at the scene has turned as dreadful as an actual battlefield. As detectives, it's their job to stop this chaotic episode, and this is what's going to happen when the Maximalists have taken over you. Getting crushed, beaten, and maybe even worse things could land on you later. While having these thoughts going across his head, Urchin looks at the portrait in his hand. Oh, it's that guy. Oh, another crash. He has been a train operator for a while before going into revolution in Promland. It shouldn't be a surprise that this strike is taking place in this particular station. Urchin looks up at the building overhead and determines to go higher up.
Sigh.
Watch out! Suddenly Urchin gets hit as he was climbing up the stairwell. It was a huge blow. His vision becomes blurry for a moment that he couldn't recognize the face of the man running into him. Despite his temporary blindness, Urchin was quick to make a move to get a hold of the man. However, the Maximalist leader is clearly more surprised than him. As soon as the two collided, Zimoya immediately steps back and makes a run for himself.
Myla.
Wait, freeze! Urchin reaches out and seizes Zimoya's shabby coat, but Zimoya clutches the baluster of the staircase and swings back with all his might to free himself and push Urchin off his footings and down the staircase. Urchin parries the attack from Zimoya by sidestepping, however it grants Zimoya a chance to break free. When the detective comes back to full attention, Zimoya is long gone, and only the thumping sound of hasty steps came from the cement flooring under his feet can be heard. Damn it, stop! The detective's footsteps dwindles in the depths of the alley. Urchin looks at the surroundings. Paths were extended in all directions. There are low-rise buildings and an abandoned house around. He doesn't think that Zimoya had enough time to escape already, but if Zimoya is planning to hide somewhere, this is the only place he can choose. Urchin tries to push open the rusty gate, but it's not moving at all. It's as if it was welded perfectly. However, he notices the brand new scratches on the gate. If this gate has been opened recently... Urchin turns his head back. He pushes the door a few more times but couldn't hear the sound of the lock jiggle. Sure enough, the door is not fastened by a lock, but something else behind it, forcing it to be shut closed. Immediately he knows exactly where Zimoya is hiding. The shovel that had been slid between the two bars of the double door is finally snapped and the warehouse door flies open, blowing a mass of dust all over the place. Huh, what a clever hound. Oh cool, it's a gun off. Urchin tilts his palm back and forth to get rid of the dust that blew right towards him. What greets him is Zimoya with his brand new pistol in his hands. With that in sight, Urchin instinctively takes his gun out. The two guns are pointing simultaneously towards one another.
Shang Fo.
Zimoya, head of the Maximus Railway Union, you're under arrest. Arrest? On what account? We didn't do anything wrong.
Grigon.
Do you really think a strike in a trade station won't impact the ordinary people? Have you never thought of how many people's schedules are messed up and how many commodities are not delivered in time? It is you, Maximus, who break the order. Such order is built upon our sweat and suffering. Do you know how many hours a day they work? How many people die of disease and hardships if we don't fight back now to let you know? You're stirring up opposition. Stop it. End this illegal assembly. It's not too late. I know the present social ambience is worthy to be reformed, but violence and unreasonable counter-strikes are never the solution.
Yeah.
No, if not for taking such desperate measure, our voices will never be heard.
Salerno.
It's not as simple as you think, Zimoya. This strike will be quelled soon, and what is the meaning behind it? I advise you not to resist anymore. It is you who are simple-minded, detective. Skirmishes can be squelched easily, but wars won't. The man grins and Urchin's heart sinks. Zimoya does not seem to care whether all of his deeds are the main reason behind the chaos, or rather that is his attention from the beginning. If faint voices calling for help and painful sweat dropping on the ground cannot grant the Votru's mercy, then let the blood river flow. Let lives diminish, let the world become so chaotic that everyone may live with fear, and let everyone raise their weapons. The thought reminds Urchin of what he has witnessed when he arrived at the station. The workers' rallying cry is subdued by the country's destructive machines. The result of the strike is futile, and ultimately union workers are easily crushed under the force of the police. But it doesn't matter to the man. To him, it's just the beginning.
Slish.
You think you're doing the right thing, but fighting against the status quo can only backfire. Then you should understand why we're here, because if we don't speak up, the situation will never change. Urchin falls into silence. Damn it, never is he in such an urgent demand of the support from the eloquent Widden Lochno. Enough, no more meaningless arguments, Zimoya. Hands up! Zimoya shakes his head as he keeps pointing the gun firmly at the detective. With Urchin closing the distance between them, he's now able to see his opponent's weapon more clearly. It's no ordinary gun, it's a well-made Sartorius special. After confirming the type of gun that is in Zimoya's possession, Urchin has now become vigilant. I'm not going anywhere with you. You know better than me what your puppies of capitalists in the police department would do with a maximalist. And a detective like you who pays zero attention on anything else besides your own case will follow every single order they tell you to do. They ask you to make an arrest, then you do as told without asking why. Letting them be tortured or perhaps left in the streets by other corrupt cops. It won't matter to you. After all, the unsolved cases you guys are priding on is more important than anything else now. Zimoya narrows his eyes and stares at the detective that's standing in front of him. Urchin's face twists with excitement, the muscles on his cheeks are twitching slightly. He's trying to suppress his emotions. Like abandoning the persecuted Godhrkar, those whose family had been persecuted and murdered by the Thulain, who had no place to live, even came to Illy City. You didn't arrange for them as told, but still focused on the sensational case so that you could make your career soar. Am I right, Captain Easternizer? Urchin feels a fine liquid rolling down his forehead, not knowing if it's sweat or the blood from the opening of his wound. The amount of truth that Zimoya has uttered reflects a threat to Urchin. He fixes his stance firmer, focusing his aim at Zimoya. If you arrest me now, then I'm afraid these things will spread all over the police station, and even the whole Illy City. Keep in mind, we Maximalists do have connections. However, if you just let me go, nobody will ever know your little secret. I just want to emphasize again that we Maximalists don't do anything harmful, and you are being used as a tool to suppress the lower class. Urchin keeps silent. He's torn. If Zimoya leaves from here, nobody will acknowledge his negligence. But Maximalists will move on the next strike procession, or even rebellion. Furthermore, he will no longer be a conscientious police officer. But Zimoya's arrest may also expose his past. If these pasts begin being revealed to his colleagues, what will they say? What will Widden say? These problems are now again start stirring up his mind, torturing his conscious days and nights. How long can he endure such unbearable life? Is he going to carry out his orders even if his future is at stake? Suddenly, a horrifying idea appears in his mind. What if kill Zimoya right here, right now? Oh, blimey. Oh, we don't have a choice. We've got no karma points. He's going to kill Zimoya. Uh-oh. Urchin looks in the direction of the gun. Zimoya has a gun in his hands too, just proclaiming his made attempts to attack first. Just kill him and the possibility of exposing his past will be eliminated. What should he do? Is it really necessary to do this? Urchin clenches his teeth. It's time to make a choice. Enough, Zimoya. Put the gun down. Urchin slowly puts his gun back in the holster as he tries to calm Zimoya's temper. The maximalist shakes his head and instead straightens the muzzle and moves his finger over the trigger. I don't believe you. Only death awaits us if we get caught.
Slish.
I don't think they'll listen to you either.
Samo star.
I don't think they'll listen to you either. Don't come any closer. Spontaneously, Urchin quickly leans over and charges to Zemoya, and Zemoya pulls the trigger. Not carrying the bullet that slides past the side of his rib, Urchin raises the wrist of his right hand to strike a heavy punch. Oh, we got injured. That means we have 1 karma point. Before that, Sotoria's special falls to the ground. Falls on the ground. The detective is already pinning him firmly against the shelf in the room.
Shang Fo.
Head of the Maximalist of the Railway Union, Zemoya, you are under arrest.
Kizdlava.
Get off me, you don't know what those bastards are gonna do.
Kavexanito.
I'll try to keep you from being tortured. Aren't you worried I'll tell everyone in the police station about your past? Humph, they're not gonna believe what a Maximalist says. But even if they believe it, so what? At least I cannot further my mistake from the past.
Shang Fo.
Maybe you can ruin my career, but none of that matters because I caught you. My mission is done. Ha, bloody bastard. Ah, if only you were one of us. Now it's Urchin's turn to smile. Maybe in another life. Cool, so he made the right decision. He didn't kill Zemoya, he arrested him instead. So even though he didn't have the karma point to spend on in the decision, he made the right decision in my opinion. But guys, we're coming up to the hour, so I'm going to wrap things up here for now. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and watching the stream. I do hugely appreciate it, and I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed playing. This has been an absolute blast. Hopefully I will see you all in the next episode. I produce content every single day, so peace out till next time.